All right, YouTube, welcome back. When is a good time to pad slap? Some customers come in and say, hey, I just want brake pads. I just want brake pads, like they're the mechanic and they diagnose the car and whatever the case may be. So for us, it's typically a red flag. The vehicle needs to be checked out. We need to confirm if we can actually even do that repair safely. Will the wheels come off? Do they have a wheel lock key? Are the calipers, rotors, hoses, braking system in safe working order? Most cases we don't know. Typically when I hear I just need pads, I'm going to give you an example. Here on this car, that the brakes are grinding away. There's nothing left. Just example. Sidewall has a nail in it. The front tire's bald. So the car is in need of repairs. And in this case, the front brakes are low, but low enough to just say, hey, you have a little time before you're grinding. And then these brake pads are actually lower on this car than the BMW. So, when do I call low brake pads? I call low brake pads on the front of this car. The BMW, I would never call the brake pads were needed when BMW said they needed them twice. That was 4 months ago, and then he wound up in, and he wanted just to get them done, be done. The car also has an oil leak. It's coming from the oil filter. The last place to change this oil was Jiffy Lube, so we're going to clean that up and we're going to inspect to see if it's the oil cooler gaskets above it. But right here I have a drip. Unfortunately, the oil cooler tubes are above it, but there's oil on here, and that's dripping oil. And I don't usually like to change oil on dripping cars unless I know what the problem was. We got shields slapping and flapping everywhere. But back to when is the time to pad slap? Well, let me give you another example. Ready? You don't pad slap rotors like this, and you're not machining rotors. You saw TikTok ways to do it. TikTokers are just trying to get views and subscribers, and some of those guys are putting out bad content. I say this about YouTubers too. So the rate repair on this is new pads and rotors. You're not saving the brakes and rotors on this car. The front had a pulsation. So this here is when I call it's time for brakes. You can see, oh, well, one side's low, right? And the other side's almost to nothing. So if you look through the wheel and this is sucked all the way in the caliper bridge, yeah, something's going on. So this is, hey, Mr. Customer, it's required. You need brakes now. On top of it had a pulsation, and it's got uneven pad wear. So I would say this outer brake pad is thinner than the BMW job that people question. They're like, oh, those brakes are shot, and you shouldn't come to this shop. You come to a shop that's going to treat you fair and give you options to service your car. And that's absolutely what we do. If your front brakes are ready to grind and all you can afford to do the back is, okay, we told you so. That's all I can say. But if you want a pad slap on pulsating and rust pitted rotors, we're not doing that. You want a pad slap on rotors that look like this, we're not doing that. You think you got noise now? Wait till you hang a new set of pads on these rotors and listen to them scream and holler for the whole entire time that you do it. Those days of us doing that kind of work are long gone. So are the pads still good by thickness? Yes, but for quality, no, they're junk. So this one would never see a pad slap. This side over here, it has uneven pad wear. We're going to take a little discovery once we get this wheel off to see if we have slider issues. Is it caliper? Is it hardware? So absolutely not. I just need pads. Would never happen on this car. And then the car that meets my qualifications for a pad slap. Low mileage vehicle. Rotor surfaces are consistent all the way across. The variations in thickness from top to bottom, just on a feel. And I've been doing this a long time, so I could say, hey, yeah, we're going to have some noise or we're not going to have any noise. So these are just borderline, right where I would say, you could get away with it. And if you experience some noise, it's not a big deal. You'll have to come back and get some rotors. But I feel very confident and comfortable that absolutely that they're not going to have any issues with this. What I did notice also is that the rear tire is coming apart. So we do sell tires here. So we're going to see if we can't add the sale to the tires. I already did the oil change, and everything's lubricated. It has a new spring clips on the pads. So we'll have to see what the customer wants, but when's the right time to pad slap? It's up to the mechanic who's doing the job. And you're gonna find some crumbs out there that'll just pad slap anything. Yeah, not even my used car dealers do that. When they put out a brake job, they get new pads and rotors almost every time they do a brake job. Why? They do not want the customer coming back and saying, my mechanic said or the dealer said that my pads are low, or my brakes are squeaking and squealing. They just do it right the first time, do it right the first time. Matching new rotors with pads, making sure everything's right, and do a quality job. And that's what we're going to do. But there's slim cases where we can just do a pad slap, and this would be one of them. Thanks for watching.